Wayne, Jim, Howard, and all of Jay's family in Winnipeg. We want to take this opportunity to share a few words. Good evening, Roatan family. Where's Jay when you need him?
That's Jay doing that.
Thank you for giving us here in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, the opportunity to be heard at Jay's celebration of life. I spoke often with Jay about the possibility of moving to Roatan and joining in on his adventure. I am deeply saddened that I have not had the opportunity to make my way there. Jay would always tell me of the in-depth worldly discussions he would have with each and every one of you, and how genuine and real you all were to him. It made me miss him even more. I would tell my spouse Diane, pack everything, we're Roatan bound. He referred to his friends in Roatan and of his very diverse, eclectic family as his family. He loved you all very much. Judging by the impact and posts of condolences on Facebook, he was loved very much by you. Thank you. He's gone. No, he will always be with us in our hearts and thoughts forever. Charles Darwin said, "A man's friendships are one of the best measures of his worth." If so, Jay, you are a very wealthy man, as your friendships span the continents, as demonstrated by your family in Roatan, Winnipeg, and across Western Canada. You left us too quickly, my dear friend, but we know that there was a greater plan for you, and that is what gives us solace and comfort in our time of sorrow. Your unconditional love and friendship will never be forgotten. We remember all the great times and great conversations we had. And boy, could you converse. Whether it be politics, business, or the dry cold versus the wet cold winters in Manitoba and Alberta, you were always able to articulate yourself in a way that made us think twice. Your quick wit and amazing sense of humor was always so appreciated. To this day, the Newth moniker you coined for me, because of being raised and born a Newfoundlander, remains with me, and I thank you for that. Murray, you can explain what a Newfoundlander is to your friends at a later time. We enjoy thinking and sharing our thoughts of when we all used to go to the Keg restaurant on every Friday night after work to solve the world's issues until the wee hours of the morning. He seems to have that in common with his friends here. Starting with a group of 12 or so, and ending with just Jay, Howard, and myself, fighting over who was responsible for the $400 bar tab that was left for us by our coworkers. Or Saturday evening poker games, where you aggressively bet to bluff us out, finally conceding that the only thing you could beat us with was your great choice of explicative words, and not your three of a kind, as we were always chasing your flush and straights 90% of the time we would hit. Man, that would piss you off. Poker has never been the same since you moved to Roatan, and I have to say it probably won't be the same in Roatan. So with that said, we will remember to leave a chair open in your honor from here on. Here's a message from Howard. Sitting here with Taz, Jay's cat, who seems to know his friend and mine is gone. So sad, as it was way too early for him to have to leave us. I'll remember his smile and laugh, and though he would never admit it, his horrible golf swing. Talking with Murray, he mentioned all the friends Jay had in Roatan, as he did here in Winnipeg. I'm sure we will all get along. Any friend of Jay's would be a friend of mine. I'll never forget you, Jay. Best friend for life. I'll miss you, Jay. Howard.
There's more.
I would like this time to invite to the stage the next person that wanted to have a little anecdote to share. And it looks like the shot time. You want to, Sue Ann? Okay.
This is from Guy St. Louis. Today is a day in tribute to Jay, a man I miss very much, as he and I had a symbiotic brotherhood relationship. As always, my heart is there with each of you today in your loss. I believe that the souls we have had the blessing to be with are in our lives for a higher purpose, as teachers, for each of us to learn from. Jay had always been a brother and my closest confidant, helping me clear my thoughts and look at possibilities given to each of us by our Creator. He lived a life I always admired, free-spirited, happy, willing to help anyone in need at a moment's notice. Just think back to a time he helped each of us. With never a thought of compensation on his mind. He and I, over the years, dug trenches together, went into septic fields, worked countless days and nights together to get a job done. Partied all night a couple of times too. And he always had a smile for me, ready and willing with brothership advice and true compassion. He made me think about my environment, observe, and learn how to become a better person. Yes, Jay had his vices and demons. I do too. However, when the chips were down, he always came through. In the end of this short earthly life, that's what counts, a person's rep and their love of others, and he was there for me. Many times I'd say goodnight to him, go to bed, get up like Jeff does every day at 4 a.m., work for a while, and then open up the bodegas, restaurants, and bars, only to find Jay sitting outside the Thirsty Turtle at 5:30 in the morning wanting a port royal. Amazing thing is he was always with somebody, never ever alone, because he loved people. Jay had no blood family here. Each of you were his family. I believe this was his greatest strength. He knew that each of our souls were all connected together, somehow, some way, and his job was to become a good illustration, exemplifying that as teacher to show us how to love with no boundaries, regardless of country, religion, or race. I will miss Jay, but we'll meet again. He always parted with words that will continue to remain immortal. In his very deep voice, he'd say, go get him, buddy. He did, and I will. I have to, can I read the other two? They're very short, then I can be done. Okay. This is from Debbie Herring. I wanted to share a story with you, though. Last time we were down there was on mine and Tom's 25th anniversary. We had met and hung out with Jay every time we'd been down there, but the last trip Tom got very sick with some kind of stomach bug. Apparently that's very common down there. Jay took me to a pharmacy and helped me buy antibiotics and such that he needed, and I don't speak English. While Tom was recovering, Jay was like my guardian and made sure I was still out and having a great time. I felt like he was protective of me. He continually checked on Tom to make sure he was okay. I knew at that time we had made a very, very good friend. We are so very sad that we haven't made it down there since to spend more quality time with him and know it's too late. I know there are a lot of people's lives he's touched, just like he did ours. Please share our prayers and thoughts Saturday. It will be a sad day indeed. The last one is from Steve Haas, and then I'll be done. I've been thinking about Jay a lot over the last couple of days. Jay and I shared something. We were both born on the same day in 1964, a few hours apart. He was so tickled when he found that out. But really, if you knew Jay for long, he always found something to either share with you or a way to help you. He listened to our troubles, or if need be, would take us out to find trouble. He remembered good things about us that we shouldn't have forgotten. He surprised us by showing us up just the right moment. He thought of his friends more than he thought of himself. That's why so many people were touched by his passing. And we love Jay for who he was and the things he did. Even on the days he drove us crazy, wherever he is now, I'm sure he knows that.